5. He wields the various kinds of supernormal power. Having been one, he becomes many. Having been many, he becomes one. He appears and vanishes. He goes unhindered through a wall, through an enclosure, through a mountain as through space. He dives in and out of the earth as though it were water. He walks on water without sinking as though it were earth. Seated cross-legged, he travels in space like a bird. With his hand he touches and strokes the moon and sun, so powerful and mighty. He wields bodily mastery, even as far as the Brahma world. 6. With the divine ear element, which is purified and surpasses the human, he hears both kinds of sounds, the divine and the human, those that are far as well as near. 7. He understands the minds of other beings, of other persons, having encompassed them with his own mind. He understands a mind affected by lust as affected by lust, and a mind unaffected by lust as unaffected by lust. He understands a mind affected by hate as affected by hate, and a mind unaffected by hate as unaffected by hate. He understands a mind affected by delusion as affected by delusion, and a mind unaffected by delusion as unaffected by delusion. He understands a contracted mind as contracted, and a distracted mind as distracted. He understands an exalted mind as exalted, and an unexalted mind as unexalted. He understands a surpassed mind as surpassed, and an unsurpassed mind as unsurpassed. He understands a concentrated mind as concentrated, and an unconcentrated mind as unconcentrated. He understands a liberated mind as liberated, and an unliberated mind as unliberated. 8. He recollects his manifold past lives, that is, one birth, two births, and so on. Thus, with their aspects and particulars, he recollects his manifold past lives. 9. With the divine eye, which is purified and surpasses the human, he sees beings passing away and reappearing, inferior and superior, fair and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate, and he understands how beings pass on according to their actions. 10. By realizing for himself with direct knowledge, he here and now enters upon and abides in the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom that are taintless with the destruction of the taints. These, Brahmin, are the 10 qualities inspiring confidence that have been declared by the Blessed One, who knows and sees, accomplished and fully enlightened. When these qualities are found in any one among us, we honour, respect, revere and venerate him, and live in dependence on him, honouring and respecting him. When this was said, the Brahmin Vasakara, the minister of Magadha, said to General Upananda, "What do you think, General? When these worthy ones honour one who should be honoured, respect one who should be respected, revere one who should be revered, and venerate one who should be venerated, surely they honour one who should be honoured, and venerate one who should be venerated. For if these worthy ones did not honour, respect, revere, and venerate such a person, then whom could they honour, respect, revere, and venerate, and on whom could they live in dependence, honouring and respecting?" Then the Brahmin Vasakara, the minister of Magadha, said to the Venerable Ananda, "Where is Master Ananda living now?" "Now I am living in the bamboo grove, Brahmin." "I hope, Master Ananda, that the bamboo grove is pleasant, quiet and undisturbed by voices, with an atmosphere of seclusion, remote from people, favourable for retreat." "Indeed, Brahmin, that the bamboo grove is pleasant and favourable for retreat is because of such guardian protectors as yourself." "Indeed, Master Ananda, that the bamboo grove is pleasant and favourable for retreat is because of the worthy ones who are meditators and cultivate meditation. The worthy ones are meditators and cultivate meditation. On one occasion, Master Ananda, Master Gotama was living at Vaisali in the hall with the peaked roof in the great wood. Then I went there and approached Master Gotama, and in many ways he gave a talk about meditation. Master Gotama was a meditator and cultivated meditation, and he praised every type of meditation. The Blessed One, Brahmin, did not praise every type of meditation, nor did he condemn every type of meditation. What kind of meditation did the Blessed One not praise? Here, Brahmin, someone abides with his mind obsessed by sensual lust, a prey to sensual lust, and he does not understand as it actually is the escape from arisen sensual lust. While he harbours sensual lust within, he meditates, premeditates, out-meditates, and mismeditates. He abides with his mind obsessed by ill will, a prey to ill will, with his mind obsessed by sloth and torpor, a prey to sloth and torpor, with his mind obsessed by restlessness and remorse, a prey to restlessness and remorse, with his mind obsessed by doubt, a prey to doubt, and he does not understand as it actually is the escape from arisen doubt. While he harbours doubt within, he meditates, premeditates, out-meditates, and mismeditates. The Blessed One did not praise that kind of meditation. And what kind of meditation did the Blessed One praise? Here, Brahmin, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, a bhikkhu enters upon and abides in the first jhana. With the stilling of applied and sustained thought, he enters upon and abides in the second jhana. With the fading away as well of rapture, he enters upon and abides in the third jhana. With the abandoning of pleasure and pain, he enters upon and abides in the fourth jhana. The Blessed One praised that kind of meditation. It seems, Master Ananda, that Master Gotama censured that kind of meditation that should be censured, and praised that kind of meditation that should be praised. And now, Master Ananda, we depart. We are busy and have much to do. You may go, Brahmin, at your own convenience. Then the Brahmin Vasakara, the minister of Magadha, having delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Ananda's words, rose from his seat and departed. Then, soon after he had left, the Brahmin Gopaka Moggallana said to the Venerable Ananda, Master Ananda has not yet answered what we asked him. Did we not tell you, Brahmin, there is no single bhikkhu, Brahmin, who possesses in each and every way all those qualities that were possessed by the Blessed One, accomplished and fully enlightened? For the Blessed One was the arouser of the unarisen path, the producer of the unproduced path, the declarer of the undeclared path. He was the knower of the path, the finder of the path, the one skilled in the path. But his disciples now abide following that path, and become possessed of it afterwards. 109. Mahapunanama Sutta, the Greater Discourse on the Full Moon Night. Summary. A bhikkhu questions the Buddha on the 5 aggregates, clinging, personality view, and the realization of non-self. Thus have I heard. On one occasion the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in the Eastern Park, in the palace of Megara's mother. On that occasion, on the Uposatha day of the 15th, on the full moon night, the Blessed One was seated in the open, surrounded by the Sangha of bhikkhus. Then a certain bhikkhu rose from his seat, arranged his upper robe on one shoulder, and extending his hands in reverential salutation towards the Blessed One, said to him, Venerable Sir, I would ask the Blessed One about a certain point, if the Blessed One would grant me an answer to my question. Sit on your own seat, bhikkhu, and ask what you like. So the bhikkhu sat on his own seat and said to the Blessed One, Are these not, Venerable Sir, the 5 aggregates affected by clinging? That is, the material form aggregate affected by clinging, the feeling aggregate affected by clinging, the perception aggregate affected by clinging, the formations aggregate affected by clinging, and the consciousness aggregate affected by clinging. These bhikkhus are the 5 aggregates affected by clinging, that is, the material form aggregate affected by clinging, and so on until the consciousness aggregate affected by clinging. Saying, "Good Venerable Sir," the bhikkhu delighted and rejoiced in the Blessed One's words. Then he asked him a further question. "But, Venerable Sir, in what are these 5 aggregates affected by clinging rooted?" These 5 aggregates affected by clinging are rooted in desire, bhikkhu. Venerable Sir, is that clinging the same as these 5 aggregates affected by clinging, or is the clinging something apart from the 5 aggregates affected by clinging? Bhikkhu, that clinging is neither the same as these 5 aggregates affected by clinging, nor is the clinging something apart from the 5 aggregates affected by clinging. It is the desire and lust in regard to the 5 aggregates affected by clinging that is the clinging there. But, Venerable Sir, can there be diversity in the desire and lust regarding these 5 aggregates affected by clinging? There can be, bhikkhu, the Blessed One said. Here, bhikkhu, someone thinks thus, "May my material form be thus in the future. May my feeling be thus in the future. May my perception be thus in the future. May my formations be thus in the future. May my consciousness be thus in the future." Thus, there is diversity in the desire and lust regarding these 5 aggregates affected by clinging. But, Venerable Sir, in what way does the term aggregates apply to the aggregates? Bhikkhu, any kind of material form whatever, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, this is the material form aggregate. Any kind of feeling whatever, far or near, this is the feeling aggregate. Any kind of perception whatever, far or near, this is the perception aggregate. Any kind of formations whatever, far or near, this is the formations aggregate. Any kind of consciousness whatever, far or near, this is the consciousness aggregate. It is in this way, bhikkhu, that the term aggregate applies to the aggregates. What is the cause and condition, Venerable Sir, for the manifestation of the material form aggregate? What is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the feeling aggregate, the perception aggregate, the formations aggregate, the consciousness aggregate? The 4 great elements, bhikkhu, are the cause and condition for the manifestation of the material form aggregate. Contact is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the feeling aggregate. Contact is the cause and the condition for the manifestation of the perception aggregate. Contact is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the formations aggregate. Mentality-materiality is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the consciousness aggregate. Venerable Sir, how does identity view come to be? Here, bhikkhu, an untaught ordinary person who has no regard for noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined in their dhamma, who has no regard for true men and is unskilled and undisciplined in their dhamma, regards material form as self, or self as possessed of material form, or material form as in self, or self as in material form. He regards feeling as self, perception as self, formations as self, consciousness as self, or self as possessed of consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. That is how identity view comes to be. But, Venerable Sir, how does identity view not come to be? Here, bhikkhu, a well-taught noble disciple who has regard for noble ones and is skilled and disciplined in their dhamma, who has regard for true men and is skilled and disciplined in their dhamma, does not regard material form as self, or self as possessed of material form, or material form as in self, or self as in material form. He does not regard feeling as self, perception as self, formations as self, consciousness as self, or self as possessed of consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. That is how identity view does not come to be. What, Venerable Sir, is the gratification, what is the danger, and what is the escape in the case of material form? What is the gratification, what is the danger, and what is the escape in the case of feeling, in the case of perception, in the case of formations, in the case of consciousness? The pleasure and joy, bhikkhu, that arise in dependence on material form, this is the gratification in the case of material form. Material form is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change. This is the danger in the case of material form. The removal of desire and lust, the abandonment of desire and lust for material form, this is the escape in the case of material form. The pleasure and joy that arise in dependence on feeling, in dependence on perception, in dependence on formations, in dependence on consciousness, this is the gratification in the case of consciousness. Consciousness is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change. This is the danger in the case of consciousness. The removal of desire and lust, the abandonment of desire and lust for consciousness, this is the escape in the case of consciousness. Venerable Sir, how does one know, how does one see, so that in regard to this body with its consciousness and all external signs, there is no I-making, mine-making, and underlying tendency to conceit? Bhikkhu, any kind of material form whatever, whether past or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, one sees all material form as it actually is with proper wisdom thus: this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Any kind of feeling whatever, any kind of perception whatever, any kinds of formations whatever, any kind of consciousness whatever, one sees all consciousness as it actually is with proper wisdom thus: this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. It is when one knows and sees thus that in regard to this body with its consciousness and its external signs, there is no I-making, mine-making, or underlying tendency to conceit. Then, in the mind of a certain bhikkhu, this thought arose: so it seems material form is not self, feeling is not self, perception is not self, formations are not self, consciousness is not self. What self, then, will actions done by the not-self affect? Then the Blessed One, knowing in his mind the thought in the mind of that bhikkhu, addressed the bhikkhus thus: it is possible, bhikkhus, that some misguided man here, obtuse and ignorant, with his mind dominated by craving, might think that he can outstrip the teacher's dispensation thus: so it seems material form is not self, consciousness is not self. What self, then, will actions done by the not-self affect? Now, bhikkhus, you have been trained by me through interrogation on various occasions in regard to various things. Bhikkhus, what do you think? Is material form permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus: this is mine, this I am, this is myself? No, Venerable Sir.